In the shadows of history, humanity has always looked up, toward the moon, our eternal companion. It's been worshipped by ancient civilizations, used as a cosmic clock, and studied obsessively by scientists. And for decades, it stood silent, holding secrets beneath its pale, lifeless surface. But now, that silence is breaking. Not from the west this time, but from the east. China, with quiet determination and relentless ambition, has stepped onto the moon with eyes wide open. And what they're seeing is rewriting everything we thought we knew. It all began in the background, far from the spotlight of global media. While headlines were filled with Mars rovers and asteroid chases, China methodically built something far more transformative. The Chang'e missions, named after the Chinese moon goddess, weren't just another space program. They were something bigger, something more strategic. Starting with orbiters and crash landers, China moved on to soft landings, rovers, and eventually sample return missions. Each mission built on the last, not just technologically, but scientifically. They weren't just visiting the moon. They were studying it, mapping it, learning how to live there. In December 2020, the Chang'e 5 mission did something humanity hadn't done in over 4 decades. It brought moon rocks back to Earth. But this wasn't just a nostalgic repeat of Apollo. Chang'e 5 landed in a volcanic region never before explored. Oceanus Procellarum, or the Ocean of Storms, is unlike the ancient cratered highlands where the Americans had landed. It's younger, hotter, and full of unanswered questions. The samples retrieved there turned out to be only 1.2 billion years old, staggeringly young for moon rocks. Most Apollo samples were well over 3 billion years old. This changed the game. The moon hadn't gone cold and dormant early in its life, as previously thought. It stayed molten, geologically active, far longer than anyone imagined. That discovery alone would have been monumental. But the surprises didn't stop there. Trapped inside the mineral ilmenite, abundant in those samples, was something extraordinary: helium-3, a rare isotope virtually non-existent on Earth. Helium-3 has the potential to unlock nuclear fusion, the holy grail of clean, limitless energy. Unlike traditional nuclear power, fusion with helium-3 produces no radioactive waste, no chain reactions, and no meltdowns. The only thing missing is the reactor. Once we crack that technology, helium-3 could power entire cities with a handful of dust. And where is it most concentrated? On the moon, in the very soils China is now analyzing. Suddenly, this wasn't just about science. It was about energy, economics, and control. A silent race had begun, and China was already a few steps ahead. In 2024, China took things further with the Chang'e 6 mission. It ventured to the moon's far side, an area never before sampled. Unlike the familiar face of the moon we see from Earth, the far side is rugged, ancient, and largely unexplored. It hides secrets from the early days of the solar system, buried in deep impact craters. From there, China brought back samples older and stranger than anything we've held before. Some of those rocks may have come from the moon's mantle, the first of their kind. They could help us understand how the moon formed, and by extension, how Earth itself came to be. The implications are enormous. If the moon formed from a colossal collision between Earth and a Mars-sized planet, as the giant impact theory suggests, then its interior should mirror ours. But the samples from the far side tell a more complicated story. Different chemistry, different cooling rates, different timelines. It challenges our assumptions. And perhaps, it tells us that our own origin story is more chaotic, more dramatic than we ever imagined. Then there's water. For decades, it was assumed the moon was bone dry. But Chang'e 5 found water molecules, real, complete H2O, locked inside lunar minerals, even in areas that see full sunlight. This is revolutionary. Not only does it mean astronauts wouldn't have to rely solely on costly Earth shipments, it means potential moon bases could be more flexible in location. We're no longer restricted to shadowy polar craters. Water is life, fuel, and breathable air, all hiding in plain sight. The bigger picture becomes clear. China isn't just exploring, it's preparing. Every mission, every rover, every gram of dust It's all laying the groundwork for something bigger. A sustainable human presence, a moon base, maybe even a stepping stone to Mars. They aren't rushing to plant flags or take photos. They're building infrastructure, testing technologies, learning how to live in space permanently. Their robotic missions have become models of precision. Autonomous landers, intelligent rovers, return capsules that re-enter Earth's atmosphere flawlessly. And in 2026, Chang'e 7 is scheduled to land near the moon's south pole, home to the largest reservoir of frozen water ever discovered beyond Earth. This area, constantly bathed in shadow, could become the most valuable real estate in the solar system. Whoever controls it controls access to fuel, life support, and the ability to launch deeper into space. But China isn't doing this in isolation. They're building partnerships, Russia, the Middle East, emerging space nations. They're proposing their own lunar research station, an alternative to NASA's Artemis program. This isn't just a technological competition. It's a clash of visions, of how humanity will expand beyond Earth, and who gets to lead that future. What China has found on the moon is more than rocks, more than science. It's a glimpse into a future shaped not by conquest, but by quiet mastery, by patience, by strategy. The moon is becoming the first true frontier of space colonization. And while some nations reminisce about past glories, China is already making new ones. There's a quiet revolution unfolding in space, one that doesn't shout, doesn't posture. It moves like the moon itself, silent, inevitable. While others look up with nostalgia, China looks up with purpose. And those plans, they're not science fiction anymore. They're already happening.